Hello, just Gem here and welcome, or indeed welcome back to my channel. I am makeupless today mainly because when I woke up this morning my skin was just feeling kind of meh, for want of a better phrase, so I decided to give it a bit of a breather and I'm just letting it rest basically. I'm not going to hang about because even though it seemed to start off as a bit of a slow fortnight when it came to makeup releases, it ramped up and I've suddenly ended up with a whole bunch of releases to get through. I will start with Michaela, influencer whose surname I can't pronounce, with the really thick, is it like a Jersey accent or is it Boston accent? Where is she from? She's got that really distinctive accent to the point where I wonder if she puts it on a little bit. Do you reckon she puts it on a little bit? Anyway, I digress. She has released a skincare brand called POV, or Point of View, and what I'll do first actually is I'll just play you the trailer because this is what I stumbled across initially that caught my eye and piqued my interest, shall we say. So let's watch this together.
This is beauty from my point of view.
My point of view.
My point of view.
My point of view.
My point of view is a full beat.
Soft glam.
Expressive.
Sultry dazzle.
My point of view is mature.
Bold.
Glamorous.
My point of view is cool. My point of view is love.
What's yours?
Right out of the gate, this strikes me as a brand that wants to get off on the right foot, and it's screaming, we are diverse. Just looking at all the people involved, yeah, it's screaming inclusivity. Is it perhaps screaming it a little bit too loudly? Damned if you do and damned if you don't, I suppose. And maybe I'm just being a bit nitpicky. It's funny though, because originally I saw this on Ohema's profile because I don't follow Point of View. I didn't know it existed, and I don't follow Michaela. So if it hadn't been for the fact that it was on Ohema's profile, I wouldn't have seen this. I guess I'll give them a tick for diversity. The controversy though, before I go on to the controversy, there was a bit of me that was surprised that Michaela was starting off with skincare. Maybe the logic behind it is it's good, you need a good base to then put your makeup on, so maybe the makeup is coming. And I was also struck by how plain the packaging is. I don't follow Michaela, but she strikes me as being larger than life, a bit loud, so I kind of expected loud packaging, I'm not gonna lie. So I was very surprised by the understated black and white packaging that this brand has. Now the controversy about this brand is the name, and Michaela has been called out for perhaps stealing POV, or Point of View, from a small indie brand based in Canada. I was trying to do a bit more research on this, which is partly why I didn't include it in the last new makeup releases. And then I'm not going to lie, I got a bit lazy. But from what I gather, it's perhaps looking as though the small indie brand of the same name haven't necessarily taken the correct steps to secure that name as their own. I don't know what the process is when you're naming a company. I guess if something comes to mind, one of the first things you would do is a quick search, even if it's just on Google, to see has anyone else got that name. I don't know if the indie brand is so small it didn't pop up, or it was considered so small it wouldn't matter to take the name. I don't know, but a lot of people have said that it's not right, and I would say perhaps morally it isn't. But technically, as I say, I just don't know if that brand has secured the name as their own. I heard of murmurings that the pricing of the products was high, and I had a quick look And I actually didn't think it was too bad, considering how expensive skincare can be and how much sometimes I think influencer brands can be inflated, like the price can be inflated. I don't think it was too unreasonable. And I think there was a bundle of 5 items that you could get for, was it $170 odd? As I say, it's not as if Michaela is someone that I follow, so I'd be inclined to show support by purchasing a few of the items. But I guess more just to see what the quality would be like, I'd be curious. I am definitely more into my skincare these days. I'm getting on a bit. I don't want the wrinkles to start showing. I'm trying to remember to wear SPF daily. I did actually remember to put it on today. Yay me. Out of curiosity, if it ever becomes available in the UK, I might try it. It's giving off this clean aesthetic, which again is not something I would associate with Michaela. She's bold, she's bright. So there seems to be a disjoint there, at least for me. I don't know. Have you picked up anything from this launch? It only launched on the 26th, so it may be that people don't have it yet. I don't know if it's one of those brands that is going to be available at like Ulta or Sephora or anything like that. It might be early days. It might be that it's only going to be from the brand website. But if you have picked it up, if you're watching this further down the line and you've tried it, let me know your thoughts. If you've been following any of the controversy surrounding the name, do you believe that Michaela has outright stolen the name, or do you think that the name was fair game? Kryptine Cosmetics launched 2 palettes on the 28th of March, the Secret Garden collection. And you can buy them individually, but you can also buy them as like a pair, a bundled pair. So there's Secret Garden 1, $59, 6 mattes, 4 multi-chromes, 2 duochromes, and Secret Garden 2 is $61, and that's 6 mattes and 6 multi-chromes. And then if you buy the bundle, it's $108, and I'm just now clocking that it says free international shipping. That's interesting. I've not tried Kryptine Cosmetics. I've heard good things. Do I think that's a fair price? Let's just call it $60 each. 12 shades. It's a bit on the pricey side. I don't know if you're paying for the magnetic packaging. I guess multi-chromes are more expensive to produce as well. I had to pause there because from the screenshots I had taken, I couldn't figure out which one was which. I think I'm more drawn to Secret Garden 2. Having said that, they've done something really clever where they've marketed how you can mix and match the colour stories. And when they've mixed and matched the colour stories, I then like both. So that's really interesting and really clever because it encourages you, well, maybe not encourage you, entices you to pick up both. If I was only going to pick up one, it would be, which one did I just say? Did I say 2? Yes, it would be 2. But then I think there are some tones in one, like I really like that red shade and the shimmer directly underneath. And I'm intrigued about that mustard shade. I'm curious about Kryptine Cosmetics. I haven't tried them yet, but I would be open to. And now that I've seen that free international shipping, I would put this in yes if money were no object. And like Real World Gem would probably only buy Secret Garden 2 rather than both. It is worth noting that there is a bundle available, $108 for both. If you've tried Kryptine Cosmetics, let me know what you think of the formula, and also let me know if it's comparable to sort of any other indie brands that you have tried. Like if you had to say it was similar to, who would you say it was similar to? At the moment, I don't feel like I have the space or the capacity to try a new brand. Maybe when I do, I would say that Kryptine Cosmetics would kind of be next on the list. Gloss Gods. So this Gloss Gods is interesting. When I first saw the palette, I was like, oh, that's nice. I really like molten metals. I could be swayed by this. I could. And then I started to think to myself, it does look familiar though. Why does this feeling of intense deja vu swept over me, and I was thinking, it's pretty and I really like it, but why? And I kind of have this mantra of, if you see a palette that you really like and you think to yourself, I love that colour story, I want to buy it, pause and think to yourself, do I like that colour story so much that I might have it already? When it comes to this Gloss Gods launch, the palette that I had this nagging feeling it reminded me of is Metamorph. Sinai Reviews, I think it's Sinai Reviews, it could be Sini, I think it's Sinai, S-I-N-I Reviews. She had posted the swatches of Dancing Lights. I don't think I've said what it's even called. So it's inspired by the Northern Lights. So she posted the swatches, and then the minute I saw them, the penny dropped and I was like, Metamorph, that's what it reminds me of. As Sinai Reviews gets a lot of PR and does a lot of swatches, I went back over her swatches and I found some that she had done of Metamorph so I could do side-by-side comparisons. It was a little bit unfortunate because the lighting is completely different, because she would have done Metamorph a while back. She's hit upon the lighting that works the best for her swatches, and Dancing Lights I think is showcased really well. But the Metamorph swatches were a bit on the darker side. So I posted it to my story and I tagged her, and she then sort of said, I've done the swatch comparisons already, and she sent them to me, so I will insert them. They are strikingly similar. If you're the kind of person who notices and appreciates the nuances and subtleties that similar shades have, you might want both. I think I'm happy enough that Metamorph would satisfy my desire for this colour story. Yes, I think Dancing Lights might have a little something to it, but now that I've seen how similar it is to Metamorph, I don't think I need it. And the other thing is, in kind of conversing back and forth with Sinai Reviews, she also mentioned that she spotted some similarities to Lure by Blend Bunny, and I also have that. And then it got me thinking about the similarities between Lure and Metamorph. So I then did some comparison swatches of those two palettes, and then that just solidified it for me. After doing swatches of Lure and Metamorph, and then seeing how similar Metamorph was to Dancing Lights, I really don't need Dancing Lights. As beautiful as it is and as drawn to it as I am, I just don't need it. And if you're eyeing this palette and you're thinking to yourself, I really want it, and you haven't quite got it yet, maybe just seeing these comparison swatches will help you decide either way. If you've got Metamorph already, or you've got Lure already, or you've got both of them, or you've got none of them and you're trying to decide which one of the three you want, hopefully this collection of images will tell you. Gloss Gods launched this on the 26th. There are some pigments available as well. The palette is €56.95, $62 or £50. The pigments are €17.95, $20 or £16. And the bundle of the palette and the two pigments available is €71.95, $79 or £63. I was definitely drawn to it, and I do quite like the shimmer formula. If it's anything like Molten Metals, I'd imagine it's pretty spectacular, and that's one of the reasons I was really tempted to get it, but I just can't justify it. So if money were no object, I probably would, to be fair. I probably would. Real World Gem would skip on this, and that's only because I've got stuff that's too similar. If I didn't already have Lure and Metamorph, this would 100% be a yes. But because I do, it's a no. Urban Decay have got these glaze-on liquid eyeshadows, and these are quite possibly some of the most Urban Decay products I've seen Urban Decay release for a really long time. And if you're thinking to yourself, what do you mean, Gem? I just mean that Urban Decay, they've fallen off lately. I think they were placing too much emphasis on the whole naked range. You know, they were flogging, I mean, they weren't just flogging a dead horse, they were flogging a skeleton at that point. There was just nothing left of the horse. I can't be the only one who was just bored of Urban Decay. From being Urban Decay almost starting my love of makeup to falling off so rapidly that I couldn't care less about the brand. But these liquid eyeshadows, these look interesting. I like the packaging, almost like a teardrop lid with a little applicator, and even the shades look nice. They do. Shake to activate, $26. Applies in seconds and lasts up to 15 hours for a glazed and glowing eye look without creasing or fading. Those are some bold claims, Urban Decay. Bold claims. But if they meet those claims, there's like a bluey shade, like an icy bluey purpley shade that looks very pretty. There's this burgundy, like Merlot-y type shade, which looks really pretty. I mean, they're all pretty in their own right. This is probably the first thing from Urban Decay I've seen and I've thought to myself, ooh, hello, what do we have here? $26, do I think that's a bit much? Yes, I do. I would put this in yes if money were no object. I want to see them demoed. I want to see them on the eyes. And this might be something that I would pick up on a sale. Do Cult Beauty sell Urban Decay? I can't remember. Yes if money were no object. And maybe down the line, if I was to ever see them on sale, just yes. I think I would buy these. Not for full price, absolutely not. Colourpop and Toy Story. This is cute. I'm going to say right off the bat, no, I'm not buying it. No. Would I if money were no object? I don't even know if I'd buy it if money were no object. Possibly the eyeshadow palette, but I'm an eyeshadow palette fiend, to be perfectly honest. And I do quite like the colour story. I think it is a very appropriate colour story for Toy Story. It's got like this really nice balance of some pops of colour and some neutrals. So I think as a standalone eyeshadow palette, it's actually really nice. So I'd probably buy the palette, no surprise there. And the palette is $24. You've also got some glosses, they're $10 each. Some Jelly Much shadows, and they are $27? Or maybe that's for the set. BFF mascara, $12. But it's green. As much as I love the colour green, no, let's not. I'm boring when it comes to mascara. And then there's I've written SC Swirl. What's SC Swirl? Oh, maybe it's the Sour Candy Lip Mask. That would make sense. That's $12. The glosses are cute. You've got like a pale purple, which is Buzz, gold, which is Woody, the pink Peep This, Little Bo Peep. Jessie's got a sheer coral with pink. I'd get the glosses if money were no object. I think and there's a bundle, it's $36 for the gloss bundle. And then the palette itself is called The Toys Are Here, which I think is cute. And the entire bundle is $99. Oh yeah, fuck it. If money were no object, I'd probably buy the entire collection, to be fair, because I do think it's cute. real life gem would probably only lean towards the Toys Are Here palette and the Squad Dreams Ultra Glossy Lip Set, which is the 4 lip glosses together. I think that's a well curated collection. That's a good collab. That makes sense to me. That's cute, Colourpop. Props. I like that. I like that. Speaking of collabs, Glamlight, I don't know how long they've been teasing this for. They did say coming spring, to be fair to them, and it is now spring. I think this released, was it on the 26th? Did I have it written down when it was released? No, I haven't. Why would I write something down as useful as that? Glamlight x Twilight Breaking Dawn. I was about to say Breaking Bad then. Breaking Dawn Part 1. Full disclaimer, I'm not a Twilight fan. I haven't read any of the books. I haven't seen any of the films. I'm neither Team Edward nor Team Jacob. I'm not gonna lie, I think a lot of this collab is quite tacky. I do quite like that, you know, it's got a name and I always forget the name of it, but you know, when you kind of move an image and it shifts and it changes. I do like that, but one can have too much of a good thing. Don't shove it on everything. Let me just run through it really quick. This is probably the quickest way. King Dawn Part 1 bag, $40. No. Team Edward and Team Jacob palette, $35 each. No. Cullen lip kit. I did stop when this was being demoed, but I can easily dupe this. It's a black lip liner, red lippy and a gloss. So nice, but no. Twilight Saga Breaking Dawn Part 1 mirror. No. Wedding highlighter, $15. I do like a glowy highlighter, but that's too much white going on for me, I think. No. Now, this next one, while I get it, it's all gimmicky, really. When you have a collab like this, there's a certain amount of gimmick involved. But the Vampire Skin Spray for $18? No. You can get the full PR box collection, that's $169, and then you can get the full collection with no PR box, and that's $150. And it launched on the 28th of March. The palettes, which obviously any kind of collection, the first thing I'm looking at is the palettes. I'm an eyeshadow fiend, I love an eyeshadow palette. Those are the first things that I will be drawn to. These are recycled colour stories from Glamlight. That Edward palette looks like the Ghostface palette. I'll put a picture of them next to each other. And then the Jacob palette, to me that looks like it's elements of the chocolate martini and the green one. Olive martini? I can't remember what the green cocktail palette is called. But if you've got those two, you wouldn't need Team Jacob, I don't think. And if you've got the Ghostface palettes, you wouldn't need Edward. Now maybe if you couldn't decide between Ghostface 1 and Ghostface 2, we'll call them, maybe you're looking at the Edward palette and thinking, that's what I want. So maybe this is what you've been waiting for. And perhaps if you don't have the green martini palette and you don't have the brown or chocolate martini palette, you might think, this is a lovely condensed version, I'll have that. If you've already got all of those palettes, then these I think are redundant. If I had to pick one, would I say Team Edward or Team Jacob? Probably Team Jacob, because I do love a green. I do love a green. But dare I say it, I think the Team Edward palette, even though I've literally just said it looks like the Ghostface palettes, is ever so slightly more unique. But then possibly less so because it also reminds me of Vamp. So maybe this was more unique about 12 months ago, but now it's not. If I was a Twilight stan, then I might have been more drawn to this collection, but as it stands, I think it's an easy pass on everything in this for me. And I was curious because I did wonder if there'd be anything in here that would catch my eye, and I was especially looking out for the palettes just to see. And honestly, there's a part of me that's breathing a sigh of relief that I have no desire to pick up either of these palettes. So one obvious question has already been raised: Team Jacob or Team Edward? I think the other obvious question that springs to mind is, are you Team Glamlight or Team Colourpop? I would say colour story wise, I think I would just about edge towards Team Colourpop. You know, just throwing both of those out there. You know, that cool toned. Was the first one the actual Twilight one? The one that came first from Colourpop, where everyone was like, "This isn't Twilight," and then they realised it was just the first one, and then obviously the next one was the more warm toned one. It's almost as if the first one was more like the Edward palette, and the second one was more the Jacob palette. I think colour story wise and variety wise, I'm Team Colourpop. But going by the formula, having only tried one palette from each, I would go with Glam Night. Glow Recipe have released this skincare based blush. So this came out a while ago and I almost just batted it away because I thought, what? And it pops up again because they've released it as part of like a set that you can get, which is $102. And I don't get it, because does that just mean that over time you're going to end up with beautiful cheeks and then the rest of your face is just going to look like shit? I don't get it. Am I oversimplifying it? Am I overcomplicating it? I get makeup with skincare benefits, but this particular product I don't get it. And I don't believe the pictures either. I feel like to get those tones, those shades to show up on my skin tone, I'd have to slather it on. No, I wouldn't get those. Question Beauty. Now, I don't think I'd come across Question Beauty before, but they are releasing, or maybe they have released, I should probably write down release dates as much as I can for these, an eyeshadow palette, Chapter 1, Legend of Land and Sea. Aesthetically, this palette is beautiful. I've got to give it to them. It's beautiful. It is available now. It's $68. 10 ultra pigmented shades, including 5 mesmerizing metallic and multichrome pressed pigments that shift and shimmer like sunlight on the ocean. The payoff: rich, blendable colour that transforms with every angle. It's a limited edition palette, and it is striking. I think the main reason I'd skip on this is just because I think I mentioned it before. I don't have the capacity to introduce a new brand right now. I want to enjoy the brands that I've got before I start throwing other things in the mix. But this is nice though. I do really like that colour story, and there are some shades in here which I feel like I want to bathe in. Jungle Mirage, Mystic Haze and Emerald Waters do look stunning. Yes, if money were no object, absolutely. I think just for the beauty of it. Yes, if money were no object, but real life gem, no. No, but that's pretty. That is pretty. Some of those shades in there. I might lump these together just because they're kind of high-end brands with, and they're similar products. So Westman Atelier are releasing these duos, which are $75, and Charlotte Tilbury is releasing these face palettes, which are $50 each, and then some lipsticks, which are $34 each. The Charlotte Tilbury launch looks like... Does anyone remember Polly Pocket? It reminds me of Polly Pocket. Not in a good way. And I think I've seen glimpses of what the packaging would look like in real life. So not photographed? So not in photographs. I think I saw Morgan Turner holding them. And to me it just looked tacky. It's like this gold with this weird gem in it. And I'm like, $50. Those do not look as though they are dark skin friendly to me. Maybe I'm missing something, but I don't think those would be products that I could make use of. I could be wrong. The only lipstick I'm drawn to from that is Dream Talk. The rest of those, maybe Love Talk, but I wouldn't pay $34, and I certainly wouldn't pay $50 for those Polly Pocket knockoff compacts. The Westman Atelier that's even more. So that's $25 more, but that looks like it's got more range. They've got more duos on offer. So there's a duo called Fizz and Jam. Now that looks like it is indeed my jam. But $75. I know Westman Atelier is known for being an expensive brand, but if money were no object, would I do it? I go back and forth over luxury brands sometimes about whether I feel the price is justified. So for that Charlotte Tilbury compact, absolutely not. But for this Westman Atelier, there is definitely something about the packaging that's more aesthetically pleasing and more in keeping with the price point. And the more I look at this Fizz Jam duo, the more I'm thinking, oh, that looks nice. I'd want to see them demoed on a skin tone like mine. I'm saying this as if I'd spend $75 on a blush duo. I don't think I could bring myself to. Westman Atelier is stocked at Cult Beauty and they often have 20% off. 20% off 75. I mean, would I? Maybe if it's one of those things, if money were no object, my light's gone. If money were no object, I might try it. Just to be able to say, do you know what, guys? I've tried this product, $75. It's 100% worth that price point. Do I think I would ever believe that? $75 for a blush duo? I doubt it. But part of me would want to see for myself. Lethal Cosmetics Pixeled Mini Collection, that launched on the 27th of March. Glosses are $15.50, that's euros or dollars. And then the pure metal shades are 18 euros or dollars. No, that'd be a very easy no from me. Catrice and Essence are releasing this like bundle of Superwoman and Wonder Woman stuff. Now, you all know I'm more of a Marvel fan, but this collection, it's kind of cute, to be fair. And if I don't have the pricing, I was looking for the pricing and it's probably staring me in the face. It's Catrice and Essence, so I'd imagine that the price point will be very reasonable. But yeah, on the whole, I thought that was a really cute collection. Would I buy it? No. But worth a mention, I would say. Bella Beauté Bar are going to be releasing a palette called Green Goddess, and I imagine it's probably going to follow the similar format of Ultraviolet and Realm of Fairies, which is very interesting because it's purple, it's blue, and then this is going to be green. You would think I would be running out to buy these three palettes, but while I do love blue, purple and green, I'm not a huge fan of monochromatic colour stories. I like my colour stories to have a bit of variety. I'm still yet to try the Bella Beauté Bar formula. I'll be rectifying that shortly. I'm intrigued to see the full reveal of this, and it will be interesting to see what the tones are. So I'm wondering, have they gone a bit grungier? Because have they not covered the greens in Secret Garden already? So I'll be keeping my eyes peeled to see the full colour story of that and the price point, but I suspect, as I say, it's going to fall into that same category as Ultraviolet and Realm of Fairies, but we'll see. Blend Bunny just sneakily announced on stories the other day that Sugar and Grunge is coming back. I might have to pick that up because I was very frustrated when they announced it was going to be discontinued. I hadn't purchased any Blend Bunny products by that point, but when they announced it was going to be discontinued and I looked at the colour story, I thought that it was kind of the deeper skin tone friendly pastel colour story almost. There was something about it I was really drawn to, so I was gutted when they discontinued it, especially as shortly after that they were available on Glisten, making it much more accessible. So to hear it's coming back, I'm wondering in what way, shape or form it's coming back. What's it going to be called? For example, will it also be called Sugar and Grunge? Keeping my eyes peeled for the re-release of Sugar and Grunge. And speaking of re-releases, Beauty Bay have re-released Botanic. Well, they have and they haven't. Last year, Beauty Bay released the limited edition 20 pan botanical palette, and as the name suggests, it's limited edition. It sold out and it was gone. But apparently people were clamouring for it to come back. Beauty Bay have indeed brought it back, but they've expanded it into a £42 palette. I do quite like Beauty Bay's £42 palette. I think it's a great way to acquire a lot of shades at a reasonable price for a quality that, given the price, is pretty impressive. The caveat with that though is that a lot of the times, depending on the colour story, a lot of the shades in the £42 palettes can be very similar. Good if you're someone who uses eyeshadow a lot and you're panning shades left, right and centre, because if your favourite shade somehow manages to be completed, there's a good chance there's another shade in that 42 pan that's very similar, if not the same. Looking at that 42 Botanical palette, there's a lot of sameness in there. If people wanted the Botanical £20 palette to come back, why didn't they just bring back the Botanical £20 palette? This could fill the void for people who missed out on Earthy, possibly, but not necessarily if you're not a fan of peachy orangey tones, because there's quite a lot of peachy tones in there. Do you need Tundra and Sea Moss? And do you need Evergreen and Peppermint? I'd obviously be duping the 20 shades I've already got in the original Botanical palette. Pretty as it looks, like I look at that and I think to myself, that's a nice palette and I probably would pick that up. I just don't feel like I can justify it, because not only does it dupe itself within that 42 pans, it's duping the 20 pans I've already got. If you didn't get Botanical, this could be a good shout. It's definitely good value for money, especially if you don't mind the sameness that is present. I just don't know if there was a need for Botanical XL. It's 25 quid, and there's also a 16 pan version. I always kind of ignore the 9 pan and the 16 pan because I find that a lot of the shades I really like only appear in the 42 pan anyway. So I'm never really drawn to the 9 pan and the 16 pan. 25 quid for the big one, 14 for the 16 pan. If you aren't in a hurry, just sit tight and wait for it to be a tenner. That would be my recommendation to you. I'm not going to dwell on this one too long, but as I was scrolling through new releases, I saw that Beauty Creations are releasing a Barbie collection. I don't think it's pink enough. And if you've just seen the packages, you're probably thinking, Gem, you're off your rocker, it's very pink. Yes, the packaging is, but none of the colours within the packaging. I think there's a couple of lip products that are a bit pink. One of them being a gloss, which by the time you put it on your lips won't appear as pink anyway. But the palette, for example, for a Barbie palette, I think it's far too muted. Where's the hot pink? I think the plastic palette from Blend Bunny is more Barbie than this Barbie palette is. I wouldn't buy anything from it, but I just thought it was worth noting because I just thought it was odd that for a Barbie collection it was distinctly lacking in that Barbie pink. ABH Cozy palette, no. No. Unearthly are extending their Menacing Metals range. Andromeda and Deandra have both done lip swatches of these Menacing Metals. And I think it's quite nice actually to include them both because obviously Deandra is close to my skin tone and Andromeda is much lighter than me. So it's always really interesting to see swatches actually on two very contrasting skin tones. I feel like I like how all the colours look on Andromeda better than I like how any of them look on Deandra. But then I don't know if it's one of those things where a lip liner would sort that right out and I'd appreciate how they look on Deandra way more. All of them, they just look so good on Andromeda. Really good. Like Dollhouse, Cherub, just all of them. I don't think there's a single colour that are there where I've gone, ew. Would I get any of them? I'm quite partial to a hot pink, so Dollhouse would pique my interest. Piranha looks delightful. See, Piranha looks so different on Deandra. It looks really deep and brown, whereas it looks like a really lovely purple on... See, like sometimes I hate colour theory. Like I want that colour, but on my skin tone. It's not fair. While we're on the subject of Unearthly, so I pre-ordered Just a Taste, and I also ordered it with Law. So they dispatched Law a while back, and then it got returned to them, and I was like, why has it been returned? Why has it been returned? It's because somehow I had a massive brain fart and I forgot to put the apartment number that my friend lives in. So it got returned to sender. Like, never mind, if you could just resend it when Just a Taste comes in, like, shit happens. Just a Taste pre-order was supposed to dispatch this month. It now says early April. My friend is visiting early April. So there's a very good chance that the palette is probably going to arrive while she's in the UK. So now I don't know how I'm going to get hold of that. Asking her to post it to me is going to defeat the whole purpose of getting it posted to her. It was to save money. So I need to figure that out. And the reason I have to figure it out is because when I emailed and said, look guys, it's now going to ship in April, I've seen you've updated it, that's too late for me, can you cancel it? They were like, no, our system won't allow us to. What kind of system won't allow you to cancel? I'm guessing you don't even have the stock yet. So why won't the system let you cancel it? That seems utterly bizarre to me. I know that pre-orders can get pushed back, and I was taking a gamble there. I definitely was. But it's just really frustrating because you've clearly pushed it back, I imagine, because you don't quite have the stock yet. So why can't you just cancel it? I've been burnt now. I don't think I'm ever going to be tempted to order a pre-order ever again. Especially in this scenario where it's a US pre-order and I'm ordering like via a friend. It's just too many variables, and now I don't know when I'm going to get Just a Taste, which is really upsetting. And it's especially upsetting because I could have had Law, but that got returned to sender because it was missing the apartment number. Sometimes when you're dealing with indie brands, there are more limitations. It's great because a lot of the times it means that the customer service is great, but sometimes it means that a lot of things that you can do when it comes to bigger brands, you just can't, like cancelling an order that hasn't been dispatched and isn't close to being dispatched. The answer is no. So as an introduction to Unearthly, that's kind of a bit meh. And yes, I it's different. I should take it with a pinch of salt, but it's just made me a bit. It's not ideal. And I do know, I think a lot of the times they do say you can't cancel a pre-order, which again I think is a bit shitty. Why the hell not? Especially when it's a really, really long lead time. Why can't you cancel a pre-order? I don't understand that. But anyway, that's just my little rant about Unearthly. Wicked Widow Beauty. They were supposed to release a 25-year anniversary collection based on American Psycho last month in February. They've clearly pushed it back and it looks like it is now coming soon, and they've been teasing bits and pieces. I don't know how much is going to be in this collection at the end, but they have some lippies called Murder, Psycho and Rockin' and Rollin'. No price for any of these products yet. And then they've got this blush palette, which I want just for the packaging, to be honest. I do actually like the shades inside, but for the packaging alone, it's the character's name in American Psycho has just gone out of my head because it's his business card. The packaging is his business card, and I just thought that was so clever. So for that alone, I want that blush palette. Fingers crossed that that comes to Monolith. I don't even care about paying the inflated price that Monolith are inevitably going to charge. I think I kind of want that blush palette. Do I need more blush? No. No, absolutely not. But I want it because I think that packaging is genius. Well done, Wicked Widow Beauty. I'll be keeping a keen eye on your page to see more of this collection. Even the lippies are... I'm intrigued by the lippies. Would I get any of them? No, I don't think I would. But I think the colours are on point. I want to see those lipsticks swatched because they do look kind of cool. Like that Murder shade kind of reminds me... In fact, all three of them remind me of a bit of the Menacing Metals lipsticks. So I'd be very, very curious. And again, I do quite like that packaging. It's like the white packaging and it's got that drip of blood. Patrick Bateman. Oh, good Lord, I can't believe that name escaped me. It even has a watermark. Just... Right, I'm going to stop there. I think I've whittled on for far too long. And I have to spare a thought for editing Jem, who's got to kind of try and put this in some kind of mildly entertaining, cohesive content. If you sat through all of that, I appreciate you. Thank you very much. What new releases that have just come out or are due to come out are you eyeing? Is there anything that I've mentioned that you think to yourself, don't know why you don't want it, Jem? I do. It's in my basket. I've got it. In fact, I've got it. Curious to know what has piqued your interest, what has made you open up your purse strings. I feel like nothing is really really grabbing me to spend my money, but I still end up spending my money. I don't know how that happens. I say no to all these things, yet my credit card bill still keeps... I don't know how this works. I don't know. As always, thank you for taking the time to watch. I hope that you've enjoyed this video, and I also hope to see you again in a video in the not too distant future. Take care. Bye.